Sis, I know safety feels comfortable. I know routine feels predictable. But let me speak into your soul today. You were never created to fit into the box that fear built. There's a version of you that hasn't even been introduced to the world yet. Not because she's not ready, but because the world around her has trained her to stay safe, to stay silent, to stay small. But let me be clear. Safety may soothe your wounds, but it won't stir your destiny. You keep praying for breakthrough, but God is waiting on you to break out. Break out of that cycle, that circle, that space where you keep playing it small just to make everyone else comfortable. 2025 is not the year of shrinking. It's the year of becoming, of risking, of rising. See, too many of us have mistaken safe for wise, when really we're just scared. And I get it. Stepping into the unknown is terrifying. But hear me. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in discomfort, in movement, in bold decisions you make with shaking hands. This is the year you stop negotiating with your potential. Stop asking for permission to dream bigger. Stop explaining your calling to people who were never meant to understand it. It's time to launch the business. Start the healing. Leave the situationship. Change the career. Share your story. Write the book. Apply for the position. Pack the bag. Walk in purpose. You've stayed safe long enough. Safe got you through the storm, but it won't carry you into promise. Safe kept you hidden, but it won't make you known. There's something radical, something disruptive, something anointed about your next move. So don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for validation. And don't wait for easy. Don't settle for safe. Walk in faith and step into the deep. You see, comfort feels like a warm blanket on a cold night. It wraps around you, whispers sweet lies like, "You're fine here," and convinces you to stay in rooms you've outgrown. The truth is comfort is only temporary relief, not permanent purpose. Too many women stay stuck in what's familiar because unfamiliar looks like failure waiting to happen. But what if the discomfort you're running from is the door to your destiny? God never designed you to live a life that only pleases your fears. He created you for bold steps, for hard yeses, for faith that moves mountains and hearts. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die, softly and silently. They don't collapse all at once. They fade, they shrink, and they settle. And when you settle, you start calling, coping, your identity. You start calling survival, your story. But baby girl, you were built to rise, not just to exist. There is something deeply dangerous about being too comfortable. You stop reaching. You stop praying boldly. You stop believing that more is possible. You start negotiating with average and compromising with mediocrity. And before you know it, you start shrinking your vision to fit your environment rather than stretching your faith to fit your calling. We're not here to chase comfort. We're here to chase calling. And calling will cost you something. It might cost your pride. It might cost some relationships. It might cost your predictable path. But the cost of staying stuck is always greater than the price of breaking free. That divine stirring in your spirit, that's not anxiety. That's alignment calling you out of complacency. There's a version of you, wild, powerful, fearless, that only emerges when you walk through discomfort. Comfort shelters the scared version of you. But the woman who walks in purpose, she shows up when she's unsure, when she's afraid, and when everything around her says, "Stay still," and she moves anyway. Some of you have been praying for transformation, but refusing transition. You can't have transformation without discomfort. You want the promise without the process. You want the next level without letting go of the current level. God doesn't anoint the comfortable. He anoints the obedient. Think about a seed. Before it ever becomes a tree, it's buried, broken, unseen. That's not comfort. That's process. That's preparation. That's pressure. The same is true for you. What feels like darkness might be development. What feels like loss might be launch. But you'll never find out as long as you keep choosing safety over surrender. So the next time comfort whispers, stay here. I dare you to ask yourself, is this safe or is this settling? Because comfort may keep you where you are, but it can't take you where you're called. Sometimes we confuse what feels safe with what is actually secure. Just because something doesn't shake you doesn't mean it's saving you. There are women stuck in routines, relationships, and roles that look safe from the outside, but on the inside, their soul is suffocating. Safety is not always evidence of salvation. Safety can be a trap dressed up as peace. It can look like a good job, a stable marriage, or a predictable schedule. But if it's keeping you from growth, it's not a blessing, it's a barrier. We were never called to cling to comfort zones. Jesus didn't die so you could live a lukewarm life. He didn't call you out of darkness just so you could sit in the shade of what's familiar. Sometimes we think because something doesn't challenge us, it must be from God. But faith is a fight. Growth is gritty. And purpose is uncomfortable. Don't mistake peace for passivity. Sometimes what feels peaceful is actually you ignoring the pressure to move. You might feel safe staying quiet, playing small, staying in the background. But are you really saved there? Is your soul dancing, or is it drowning in silence? Saved doesn't mean nothing ever hurts. It means you're being healed, reshaped, redirected. And sometimes salvation is loud. It shakes the room. It disturbs what's been dormant in you. It forces you to make decisions that break chains and set fire to everything holding you hostage. God doesn't just save you from the enemy. He saves you from yourself, from your small thinking, from your need to control every outcome, from the fear that says, don't try again. The most dangerous lie the enemy tells is, if it's hard, it's wrong. But the truth is, sometimes the hardest thing is the holiest thing. Sometimes the narrow path is the one that saves you. There are women watching this who have confused safety with survival. You're surviving a relationship that's draining your spirit because at least it's predictable. You're surviving in a job that's killing your creativity because at least the paycheck comes. But God didn't call you to survive in smallness. He called you to thrive in surrender. Safe doesn't stretch you. Safe doesn't sanctify you. Safe doesn't save. Obedience does. You don't need another safe space. You need a sacred one. A space where you are challenged to become everything you were born to be. A space where your gifts are stirred and your faith is stretched. A space where you are not just tolerated, but transformed. Safety might protect your ego, but it won't resurrect your purpose. The truth is, some of us are stuck in safe because we don't trust God with our risk. But let me tell you, if He called you to it, He's already gone before you. Your risk is covered in His grace. Your fear is met by His strength. The safest place you could ever be is not in the predictable, It's in the will of God. And His will often take you into the wild. So, the question is, are you willing to trade what's safe for what's sacred? Because you can't stay safe and step into your calling. You've got to choose one. Comfort has a way of deceiving us. It whispers soft lies like, stay here, it's enough. Even when your soul is crying out for more. Comfort tells you the pain of stretching isn't worth the possibility of soaring. It numbs you into believing that this small, safe version of your life is the best you'll ever get. But I came to tell someone today, comfort can become a cage. A beautifully decorated one, sure, with familiar faces, old habits, and past victories hung on the walls like trophies. But it's still a cage. You can't fly if you won't even open the door. God didn't give you wings just to decorate your back. He gave you wings so you could rise. But as long as you choose comfort over calling, you'll be grounded. Comfort will convince you that stability is more important than purpose. That not being hurt again is more important than being healed. But if you stay in what doesn't challenge you, you'll never grow into what's destined for you. Some of us are caged not by bars, by choices. The choice to stay silent. The choice to keep shrinking. The choice to play roles that make others feel safe. While you silently suffocate, you show up for everyone else. But your reflection doesn't even recognize you anymore. You've traded the wildness of faith for the wariness of fitting in. You've settled for average because it feels less risky than being authentic. That's not God's design for your life. Comfort can make you forget you're in captivity. You build routines. You develop rhythms. You wear masks so long they become skin. But deep down, you know there's something more. There's a version of you that's unshackled. A version that dances, that builds, that leads, that creates, that roars. But she can't come forth in the cage. She needs space to breathe, to be broken and rebuilt in truth, not trapped in old expectations. You're not meant to live a muted life. You weren't created to be tolerated. You were designed to be unleashed. But comfort will convince you that good enough is God's promise. That staying where you've always been is somehow noble. But girl, God doesn't do bare minimum blessings. He is a God of abundance, a God who breaks chains, not who reinforces them. But you've got to step out of what's familiar to experience what's divine. You can't get new oil in old wineskins. You can't expect fresh revelation while clinging to past survival tactics. That comfort zone you're clinging to might have served you in a past season, but it's expired now. What once protected you is now preventing you. What once carried you is now caging you. And you feel it. The irritation, the restlessness. That's your spirit reminding you, you were made for more. So many women are praying for freedom, but holding on to familiarity. You want God to open doors, but you won't leave the hallway. You want the breakthrough, but you're scared of the breaking. But hear this, deliverance won't happen until you disconnect from comfort. Destiny doesn't dwell in the easy. It's found in the uncomfortable, the inconvenient, the unknown. That's where purpose is born. You have to decide, do you want comfort or do you want change? Because you can't have both. That cage might feel cozy now, but soon it'll be too small for your calling. When the walls start closing in, don't cry. Don't panic. That's just God letting you know it's time to break free. There comes a point in your journey where you've got to choose. Will I obey what I know God said, or will I bend to what people think? You can't have both. Obedience will require you to walk paths that no one understands, to stand in rooms where people whisper, and to move in directions that don't make sense to the crowd. But here's the truth. The opinion of others may be loud, but the voice of God must be louder. Some of us are living in hesitation,